Hey guys, Super Godzilla Final Wars here, and I am back once again with another video. Today I'm going to be going over a little certain what-if theory. So, we know that King Kong has battled a huge number of monsters throughout his franchise, but I think by far, the number one kaiju that is by far the most popular villain of King Kong is Gorosaurus. King Kong has so far battled freaking dinosaurs to a robot counterpart version of himself, to humans, to skull crawlers, to warbats, hellhogs, and Mechagodzilla, eventually Scar King from Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, then the Kraken, but there's one particular monster. Oh, and Kamasutra too. I almost forgot about him. But there's one particular monster that almost everyone seems to forget, and that is Gorosaurus. Gorosaurus appeared in one of the King Kong movies titled King Kong Escapes, and he was basically a dinosaur that was around the same size, if not slightly taller, than King Kong. And King Kong won that fight. What I'm trying to say is, what if Gorosaurus was in the monsterverse? How would this change King Kong's side of the story? Well, this is where everything would most likely change if Gorosaurus was in the monsterverse. Now, we need to get this out of the way. Like, would Gorosaurus be an enemy to Kong, but an ally to Godzilla? Or will he be an enemy to Godzilla and an ally to Kong? Well, for this theory video, and since there was like a huge rivalry between Gorosaurus and King Kong, thanks to that movie, I say Gorosaurus will most likely be an ally to Godzilla. Now, we can even say that possibly during the Great Titan War between the Godzilla species and the Kong species, the Gorosaurus species was most likely a part of that war. Because just like the Godzilla species, they were in war with the Kongs too. So we can kind of say the Godzillas and the Gorosaurus were somewhat allies, two armies against one. The Gorosaurus is faster, and they can dig. Plus, they got that sharp, spike-like tail. That a lot of, I think, a few figures and fan art and fan animation features Gorosaurus with a spiked tail. So, let's go all the way back to the beginning, the birth of Kong, which is basically the comic that kind of explains Kong's origin story. Would Gorosaurus be part of the war between the Kongs and the Skullcrawlers, and would he put a stop to it? Well, let's just say he really hates the Kongs to the point where he just wants them all to die. So he just allows the Skullcrawlers to go in and kill off the Kong species, but there's only one left. And Gorosaurus, for some reason, wants to spare his life because, let's say, Gorosaurus wants to have a really big, epic fight with a Kong that can put up more of a fight. Let's say that this version of Gorosaurus has fought a lot of Kongs and came out on top. But at this point, he really wants a Kong to really put up a fight. So which is why he allows Kong to live. So that way, he can have a fight that he's been looking for. Like, he wants a worthy challenge. we can kind of say, hey, Gorosaurus is like Thor from God of War Ragnarok, and Kong is basically like Kratos. So at this point, Gorosaurus would want to keep Kong alive. This would mean that he would have to Gorosaurus would have to chase off any competition that Kong would normally have, like, say, Skullcrawlers, for example. Well, Gorosaurus will not hesitate to make sure the big Skullcrawler does not wake up. Because if it does, then it will go after Kong and most likely kill him. And Gorosaurus will lose the fight that he's been looking for. So now, let's go to Skull Island. Kong's Skull Island. For Kong's Skull Island, I think Gorosaurus would come in at the last moment and save Kong from the giant Skullcrawler. Like, say, Gorosaurus is the apex predator. Like, he's the alpha predator of the island. He's controlling the island's ecosystem, and he makes sure that no one disrupts the balance. Like, we can kind of say he kind of follows a similar role to Godzilla, but in a much more different way. He's the apex predator of the area, and the only reason he's allowing Kong to live is because he wants a fight. A real big fight. Someone to really put up a fight. And if Kong wins, then Gorosaurus would leave him alone. But if Gorosaurus wins, Kong can rather submit to Gorosaurus as the alpha of the island, or just die. So if anything, I think Gorosaurus will most likely kill the Skullcrawler when it wakes up, because he freaking does not want anyone to take away the fight he's been looking for. Now, this is where the somewhat rivalry between Kong and Gorosaurus continues. And, ladies and gentlemen, prepare to see the first true fight of Kong and Gorosaurus in the Skull Island anime. So, let's say in Skull Island anime, let's say our characters like Anne, Charlie, and Matt, I don't know who the other kid's name is, but they come across Gorosaurus and see how he is huge compared to Kong. Like, he is somewhat almost the same size as Godzilla. Like, we could say he's like 105 meters. Like, we could say somewhere in the show, Kong and Gorosaurus do end up getting their first big fight. And Gorosaurus wins because he's faster, he's more agile, plus he can dig. However, when it comes to the Kraken fight with Kong, I think Gorosaurus would help Kong. Like, I know that Kong was managed to hold off the Kraken, but he did struggle. He did actually struggle because the Kraken was in the water and it was moving faster and was a lot more agile than Kong was. But if Gorosaurus appeared, then I think the Kraken might actually have the run. Like, I think Gorosaurus would basically have the Kraken, will make the Kraken start running for his life. Because Gorosaurus is actually way more faster than Kong, and he's a lot more agile. Plus, we can even say that he's kind of a better swimmer, so he can hold his own very easily. And Kong, with his intelligence, and with both of them combined, they can actually win. against the Kraken. But instead of Kong killing the Kraken, it can be Gorosaurus who kills the Kraken. And we can use it that there's somewhat of a truce between Kong and Gorosaurus. The little temporary truce. So, Gorosaurus and Kong leave each other alone for a while. And this is where we get to Kingdom Kong. Now we do know that Kong was fighting Camazotz, and Camazotz was actually making Kong lose the battle at first. But what would happen if Gorosaurus appeared? Well, I think the battle would go to Kong's favor. Because Gorosaurus, again, is a lot more faster and more agile than Kong is. And again, I think with the both of them combined, their strength, I think they can easily win this battle. Because Kong needed help from the humans, but it would be more, let's think about it, it would be a lot more interesting if Gorosaurus was there and kind of helping Kong out. By, well, obviously killing off the bigger kaiju, that would be a threat to Kong. However, when Godzilla vs. Kong came around, I think the events would change. I think Gorosaurus will recognize Godzilla as the king of monsters and the alpha of the planet, basically. So I think Gorosaurus would actually back off and let Godzilla fight Kong. And then, somewhere in the Hollow Earth, Kong and Gorosaurus have their epic battle. Instead of the battle between Warbat and Kong, let's say that battle can be replaced with Gorosaurus and Kong's battle. That battle can last very long, really long, and let's say that Kong actually does put up more of a fight than Gorosaurus originally thought. So now Gorosaurus finally got what he wanted. He got a fight. He got a real fight. A Titanic Kong for the very first time actually put up a fight. So yeah, that's what I think would happen if Gorosaurus was in the Monsterverse. And basically, a lot of Kong's side of the story would change. But what do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below. And I know I didn't include Godzilla vs. Kong: The New Empire because I don't know what happens in that movie yet, so... Well, we don't know what happens in that movie yet, so... With that away, we're going to leave part 1 off of a little cliffhanger for now. So, yeah. Anyways, hope you guys liked this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye!